Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Rattling Bones Club, the place for tips, tricks and stories from the world of live sound, tour management and general behind the scenes of the music industry. In this video, I'm going to show you a little bit about my role as an audio engineer on a music video shoot. So the music video is for a song called Sleep Society by the band While She Sleeps. So let's get into it. So if you've seen this music video, you'll know that it's split into two parts. The first part is like a press conference of the band addressing a room full of people. The second part is a standard performance video playing along to the track. So just like that video, I'm going to split this into two as well because it's two completely separate roles for me. Press conference, I was more of a recording engineer. So all the audio that you hear in that section of the video, I recorded in that room on the day. And the second part, I'll go over my role as a playback engineer, which is more typical of what you do as an engineer on a music video. You'll make sure that the band can hear what they're playing along to. But we'll go over that in a separate video. And today we'll go over everything I did on the press conference shoot as a recording engineer. So I guess let's start by going over my setup for the day. We recorded everything via my Midas M32R, which we hid away in the corner so it wasn't any of the shots, and came out of that via the USB card into my MacBook Pro and recorded everything over Wavetracks Live. So we just ran one output from my desk to one little speaker at the back of the room. That was just to give a bit of volume to the response from the band, just for a bit of atmosphere in the room basically, and that the reporters could hear what the band was saying to them. So I guess let's go over my microphone setup for the day. Originally, we're going to do 5 vocal mics on the front just to get a clean response from each person, so it could be kind of directly in front of them, picking up their signal. But the director, Tom, wanted to just do 3, just so it kind of gave more of a visual aspect of them leaning into the microphones to answer the question, which I totally understand, and it works really well on the video. You can see that like they pull the microphone towards them, they lean in, and it does add that extra element to the visual side of things. So we ended up doing 3 Audio-Technica A6100s, which are the vocal mics I use for live for this band. We brought them in, we put on a little foam pop shield on the top to make it look a bit more authentic and reporter-like, and these were great. They picked up clean signal from all the guys. So we had those across the front of the desk. On the end of the desk, we had 2 Rode NT5s, so one either side with a little windshield on as well, just to go with the look. And these were just pointing directly into the middle of the singer, just in case if they like talked into the main mic, not as direct. These would kind of be a backup just to pick up a little bit of their vocal and a bit of the atmosphere around those 5 guys on the table. And next we had a pair of Audio-Technica A3000s at the front. These are large diaphragm condensers. They were just level with the band facing the back of the room to pick up the ambience. And these were great. They picked up the room perfectly. When the reporters came in the next day, it did sound really good. And I think the main majority of what you're hearing when the reporters are speaking is these mics. And at the back of the room, I had a pair of Rode NT1s, just again, large diaphragm condensers, right at the back of the room, facing the front. And these just did a great job of just picking up the entire atmosphere of the room. Basically, they're really clean sounding, and they picked up the band's response and the reporters really well. So day 1, we were just recording the band's responses to the questions. So Tay, the director, he kind of just stood where the reporters were going to be the following day, just so the band's eye contact was in the correct place. And he'd ask the questions and they'd do the response. So to sync up the audio and the video correctly, we need to do something called timecode. And there was no way of me sorting this out from my desk to go directly into their cameras on the day when I found out that we need to do this. So what we ended up doing was I would start my Wavetrack Live file at 0 right at the beginning, and Tom reset his camera to 0, and we started recording at exactly the same time. And I just left my audio recording for the entire session. It was like 2.5 hours of shooting. And this just meant that his timecode matched the timecode of the audio. So when he is putting the video files in after, he can find the exact audio clip for the correct time. So for me, for the day, it was more just hit record and then monitor it to make sure the levels are correct and to make sure it doesn't stop, basically. So the first day went really well. The band did all their responses to the questions. I just recorded the mics on the desk and the room mics for this day. The reporter mics I just left disabled because we didn't need them until the day after. So I think we recorded for about 2.5 hours to get all the takes of that. And then we called it a day and locked the room, left everything where it was. So day 2 with the reporters, same thing again. We recorded just straight through. So we did it in 2 sessions. We did a morning session where we recorded for about 2 hours. Then we took a break for lunch, and then came back and did another 2.5 hours in the afternoon. So for the reporter shots, I actually had another pair of Rode NT5s on short stands. I had two. I had one for the left side of the room, one for the right side of the room, both on long cables, just so I had the option to quickly run it out, put it in place, and get out of the way. So we had the mics in short stands so we could kind of hide them behind the seat. They weren't in any of the shot. If the reporter was stood up, the mic was probably like waist height, facing straight up to their mouth, try and get the cleanest signal that we could. But I do think mainly we ended up using the two Audio-Technica room mics at the front because they were very clear in the room and you could pick up the reporter's voice super clear. But having the pencil mics as an option was great. I didn't want to leave anything to chance, so just picking up whatever sources that I could to make sure we got a clean and clear signal. And then my role for the rest of the day was just double checking with the video recording team that none of the mics were in shot when we were shooting the reporters, and moving the reporter mics to the correct person who was asking the question for the next scene. And going back to what I said earlier about the timecode thing, with Tom set up with all his cameras, everything was synced to his timecode that we started at the same time. So all of his stuff was correct with mine. But there's also a few shots from camcorders and analog gear that you can't set the timecode to. So the way we got around this was anyone with a VHS camera or anything analog, they would come and film the timecode on my screen at the start of the take. So they'd hit record and make sure the start of their take was the timecode. Then they'd film the scene, and then to end it, they would then film the timecode again. This meant that when the editor got the footage, you could see the timecode, drop it in the correct place, cut that little bit out, and then it would all be syncing up with the rest of the footage. So you can see in this clip here that there is like an iPad that has a timecode running, so the guys would film that and then turn and film the band replying to questions. So after we finished shooting the video, I organized all the files, make sure they were all labeled correctly, put them into folders for each of the separate days, and then put them on a hard drive to give to Tay, who took the files away to edit the video. I didn't do any of the editing on the audio myself. I just recorded it. I think Tay got together a rough mix of the audio and then passed it along to Sean from the band, kind of just finished it up and polished it to what you hear in the final version, which I will link down below if you do want to check out the video. So yeah, that's it from me from the press conference side of this music video, of me recording all the audio for this. And in the next video, I'm going to talk you through my process of what is more common with a music video shoot for an audio engineer is just playback, basically. It's just playing back the song and making sure that all the band can hear what they're playing along to, and making sure that the cameras are synced to the correct audio source. So we'll go over that in the next video. But yeah, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
What you take what you get. You want to go to where the system as a people exist. All of this energy can colonize the gods of the chances that make us the stars. The videos and videos away from salvation. Welcome to the same society.